Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in, and I am grateful that I'm able to finally record some content. Just to let you guys know a little bit of an update. I've been having my annual or biannual or whatever you want to call it, 6-month tonsil situation where it's hard for me to talk and I can barely get sentences out. It's still a little bit there, but I am able to get through with recording content without having to cough or having the things to clear my voice every 15 to 20 seconds. So today I am going to do something that I've kind of been wanting to do for a while, is give a little bit of a way too early predictions of the NFL seasons, where I'm going to tier rank teams to where I think they could finish in this 2026 NFL season. But before I do that, make sure you guys leave this video a like, comment, share, and make sure you click the subscribe button and notification bell so you will not miss any of the videos that I post. Without further ado, let's dive into it. As you see, we have the rankings here of Super Bowl favorites, Super Bowl contenders, playoff teams, potential wild cards, playoffs, missing playoff teams, mediocre at best, young but intriguing, and #1 overall pick contention. And we're going to start off with the New Orleans Saints. I'm putting the New Orleans Saints at young but intriguing. You still have Tyler Shaw, who I think could develop. Alvin Kamara in that backfield along with Travis Etienne. I think the defense is a little bit older. We'll see what they do with the Cam Jordan situation. But I think this team, especially on the offensive side of the ball, it's a bit young, but I think it's a very, very intriguing football team. And then you draft Jordan Tyson to go along with them. I think this is a team that is a very young football team, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But when you start to think about it, I think this team, even in that South, could have a potential thing to actually win that division, even though I don't think they will. Nonetheless, this is a football team that I still think is a very contending, very young, but could contend in that division team. Next, we'll go to the Miami Dolphins. I think they're going to be mediocre at best. I don't think that wide receiving core is going to hold up as far as contending. I still think that defense needs some work. This team is scaling back on some of the things that they had the last couple of years. And I don't think this is a very young football team in some aspects, but I think they'll be mediocre at best as a football team, especially with now you have Malik Willis at quarterback. We'll see how that goes out. Jeff Hafley as head coach. We'll see how that works out. I'm not going to say this football team is intriguing, but I just think I've been mediocre at best. And honestly, I think that, matter of fact, that is what we're going to do. Because mediocre at best, I think young but intriguing, I think is a higher level to me than mediocre at best. Baltimore Ravens, this team, I think it'll be a playoff team. You add Trey Hendrickson. You do lose Isaiah Likely, who I think is going to be a bit of a hurt, but you got Ione that you add to your offensive line. You do lose Tyler Linderbaugh, which I think will hurt. Lamar coming back and should be healthy. Zay Flowers. This football team, I still think, is one of the better football teams, and that defense started to play better in the back half of 2025. So I still think this is a playoff team, and they were a missed field goal away from actually winning that AFC North division. So I'm going to put the Baltimore Ravens as I think they could be a playoff team. The Bengals, it's interesting to see how their playoffs, how they could work, but I think they have a potential to be a wild card team. And I think that with Joe Burrow being back healthy, a lot of improvements they made to that defense, Brian Cook, you add Dexter Lawrence to the defense, and you do lose Trey Hendrickson, which I think will hurt, but this defense did start to play better in the latter half, and you pair that with a very explosive offense, I think they could be a potential wild card team. The Denver Broncos, I think they could be Super Bowl contenders. With that defense, we're interested to see what Bo Nix coming back healthy. But I think this is a very good football team, personally. I think they're in that Super Bowl contending type of window with the defense that they had. And let's be honest, they were Bo Nix injury away from possibly being in a Super Bowl this past season. I think the Broncos could be in Super Bowl contenders. And then you're talking about that, the addition of Jaylon on that wide receiver position, which I think adds more dynamic playmaking to that offense. So I can see the Broncos Super Bowl contenders. Giants, it's a young football team, but it's very intriguing. Yes, you do lose Dexter Lawrence, but you get Mario on the offensive line. You draft Arvell Reese from The Ohio State University to help with your defense. You get Tremaine Edmunds in free agency. Jackson Dart, is coming back healthy. You got Malik Neighbors that could potentially be back healthy. This is a very intriguing football team. It's really young still, but I still think it's very intriguing. as they could be a team that possibly contending in NFC East. I don't think they're going to win it nowhere in hell. But I just think developing this football team, with young football team, young but intriguing. Minnesota Vikings. Honestly, I say mediocre at best. We don't know what they're going to get from the quarterback play, whether we're talking about J.J. McCarthy, Kyler Murray, who's going to start. We know what Justin Jefferson can bring. They have a great wide receiving core, but the problem is that quarterback position and that defense fell off a little bit last year. I think the Vikings are a team that's possibly mediocre at best, in my opinion. And that all goes down to quarterback play. Rams, I think they are the favorite to win the Super Bowl. To me, the most complete roster in football. Stafford coming back MVP. Kyron Williams and Blake Corum running the football. Really good offensive line. Then on top of that, McCoy and Adams. Then you bring in McDuffie and Jaylon Watson, Jared Verse, Braden Fisk along that front. I really believe that this is a very, very good football team. One of the elite on paper football teams, but we have seen things where teams look good on paper, but it don't necessarily match out. So I'm putting the Rams as Super Bowl favorites. Buccaneers, I can't call them mediocre. I think this is a team, it's either or, potentially wild card team or missing the playoffs. And I honestly would say this is a team that could be a potential wild card. It all depends on how that defense goes. Baker Mayfield's health. Developing a Mecca Buka year 2 from the Ohio State University, that wide receiver. Godwin coming back. You do lose Mike Evans. You do lose Rashad White. I just think this is a football team. And Bucky Urban stays healthy from Hillcrest High School. I think this is a team that could potentially win the NFC South or miss the playoffs. So either one of those windows fits, but I think this is a team that could potentially be a wild card team. We shall see. The Lions, I've put them in potential wild card as well. And it's all seeing how that defense is going to go. They lose Alexander Lonely. Trade David Montgomery. I still think this is a very explosive offense with Goff, with Williams, with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs. They did add Isaiah Pacheco in free agency. I think it goes down to their defense. If that defense and Branch and Arnold and guys like that can stay healthy, Hutchinson as well, then we can talk about a playoff team. But I think it goes somewhere with the health and the performance of this defense. Offense, we know they can score points. We know they can be explosive. It does have a ring of, they have a little bit of inconsistency last season, which is part of the reason that Dan Campbell took over the play calling. So it's interesting to see what Drew Petzing is going to be as well as offensive coordinator. So potential wild cards. APW Sports signing in, and today's video is sponsored by ExpressVPN. Now, me having ExpressVPN has done wonders for my life as far as protecting my passwords, protecting my secret credit card and debit card information, and keeping things private from the dark web and keeping things not to get exposed. One thing I do like is that things were previously exposed, you will get a notification to your phone that will let you know, hey, this has been exposed. You might want to take action right now. Let's just say you want to unlock different parts of Netflix, you can change your VPN to, let's say, the UK or let's say Japan or somewhere like that, and you get access to different shows on ExpressVPN. And as a content creator and a guy that spends a lot of time on the internet, having a VPN will do wonders for you, and it's done wonders for me. To get started today and get 3 months free, click the link below and use code APW Sports at checkout to get 3 months free of ExpressVPN. And I will tell you guys now, this is something that you will not regret to have, as it will protect everything that you own, protect everything that's on your internet, and protect your server so it can prevent hackers from getting into it. So make sure you use the code APW Sports at checkout to get 3 months free. Now, let's get back to the video. My Chicago Bears, I think they could be a playoff team. Yes, and to me, it's not biased. You have Caleb in year 2 in Ben Johnson's offense, and JT Barrett came out with a statement that I personally was kind of knocking Caleb for, as he has to make the routine throws with Thuney instead of coming back from behind. I think you do that as a Bears offense, I think it unlocks a little bit more. Then defensively, you add more speed with a Dylan Thuneyman, with the Kobe Bryant, and with the Devin Bush up front. I still think the front four could use a little bit of work, but with the way that they can score points, I think the Bears are a playoff team. potentially repeat as division champs. San Francisco 49ers, I think I will have them in a playoff team as well. We know George Kittle's probably not going to play at all this season with the Achilles injury. You have McCaffrey, you bring in Mike Evans, you bring in Christian Kirk, Ricky Pearsall, and those guys being back. Defensively, Nick Bosa and Fred Warner potentially being back healthy. Well, not potentially, he almost came back during the season, but him being back in that lineup and the way that Kyle Shanahan can coach his football team, playoff team. Eagles, I think, could be a playoff team as well. It's interesting to see how Jalen Hurts is going to go. And at the recording of this video, the A.J. Brown situation hasn't been solved. So we'll see where that's going to go and what they get back from that. With that defense, with Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, they do lose Reed Blank and Chipper free agency. Cooper DeJean moving to safety. And they lose the Kobe Dean as well. But they also lost Jalen Phillips. But I think this is still a very, very good football team. Still a very good football team. I think they'd be a playoff team. The Raiders, interesting to see. I don't think they're young but intriguing. I still think they're kind of mediocre, bad at best. And that's mainly because we'll see where the starting quarterback situation goes. They bring in Tyler Linderbaum. They still have Max Crosby, but I still not been a big believer in that defense. And with the moves in this offseason, I still don't believe too much in that defense, even though they signed the Kobe Dean, which would help. I still think they need a lot. They're probably maybe, right now, I couldn't put them at young and intriguing because outside of the development of Mendoza, I'm personally not too much intrigued about this football team. So I just have them mediocre at best. Green Bay, this team could potentially miss the playoffs. This could potentially be a wild card. I think they'll potentially be a wild card. And it's mainly, and I don't think Parsons probably going to be back until the 4th, 5th week of the year. It's interesting to see if Jordan Love can play a little bit consistent because he does have those moments where he plays a bit inconsistent. They could commit to a running game because the running game wasn't what it was in 2024 that they needed it to be in 2025. And I think that was a little bit of a reason why they kind of slid in the back half of the season, especially with the health of Micah and the health of Josh Jacobs, who was kind of banged up late in the year. And then Jordan Love missing time with the concussion. So potential wild card team for the Green Bay Packers. The Washington Commanders, they took a lot of steps back, and I kind of called it before last year. I didn't think it would be this bad. With this, I think this is a team that may just miss the playoffs yet again. Interesting what they're going to get from their running game. Their defense, it was just not good at all last year. And at this point with the Washington Commanders, it's a wait and see as far as them on the defensive side of the ball. Jaden Daniels possibly being healthy for a full season does help, but it's a wait and see for this Commanders football team. So wait and see. I have potentially they have the team that's right there on the cusp but missed the playoffs. Cardinals, I think they're number 1 pick contention. The quarterback situation, I don't know what the hell that's going to be. Defensively, this Cardinals team is just as team in the state of they need a lot. They're in a state of needing a lot. They did draft Jeremiah Love to help with their offense and help with their running game. But I just think for them on the defensive side of the ball, I think that's this team that could use a little bit more. Buda Baker's is not getting any younger. This could be a team in number 1 pick contention. Steelers, missing the playoffs. I don't believe in Mike McCarthy as a football coach at this point. I do and I don't. Aaron Rodgers, what are we going to get? This is a team I think that needs to rebuild. I've been saying this for the last 2-3 years. The Steelers need to rebuild. Whether it was them getting Fields and Russell 2024, Rodgers last year, and then again this year, this is a team that needs to rebuild because you're picking in the middle of the draft almost every single season, and this is a team that needs a top-level quarterback and hasn't been able to do so since the Ben Roethlisberger days. Defensively, they were old. T.J. Watt, Alex Smith, you had Jalen Ramsey, who's still on the older side of things when we're talking about defense. I think this is a team that really needs to rebuild, and I don't think they will make the playoffs. I just don't. Buffalo, playoff team. Super Bowl contenders, we're interested to see what they're going to get with their defense. But right now, I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender right now. Offensively, they have the chance to be, they add DJ Moore. I just don't believe in that defense just yet. And we're interested to see what scheme they're going to get outside of Sean McDermott. So I'm going to have them in playoff team. Falcons, I think this is a team. I'm flipping between missing the playoffs or mediocre at best. I have them missing the playoffs. Quarterback situation, Penix or Tua, I don't think it's going to be enough for them to be a playoff team. I just don't. I love what Bijan Robinson can do in the running game, but I just don't think they have enough on the defensive side of the ball and to make consistent starts to be a good defensive team. I just don't. And then the quarterback situation scares me. Not scares me, but it makes more room for it to be filled or whatever. So missing the playoffs. Seahawks, I had them. I think they might. I think the contender part is right there for that defense. They still have. They lose Boye Mafe, they lose Kobe Bryant, they lose Reek Woolen, but I still think this is a very elite defense. Losing Kenneth Walker doesn't help that offense, but Sam Darnold played well. JSN from The Ohio State University with Offensive Player of the Year. Cooper Kupp had a really productive, solid year. Zach Charbonnet, he's probably not going to be in the lineup, so we're going to see how they're going to do with the running back position. But I think Price that they got from the draft. So interesting to see, but I still think it's a Super Bowl contender team because of the way that Mike McDonald coaches that defense. New England, until some type of a trade helps to get that wide receiver position going. I'm sorry, I'm putting the Patriots as a potential wild card. And we know that defense is one of the better defenses with Mike Vrabel at the helm. But it's one of those things with the Patriots is that I was not the biggest believer in them this past season. I was the one that really believed that Drake May, I don't think he was number 2 in MVP race, to be honest. He had a good season, do not get me wrong. I just don't believe he was the number 2 MVP. That's just my personal opinion. We're talking about this Patriots team. Until they get, I think they need to get A.J. Brown. They have to help with that wide receiver core. I think they have to. We love what Travion Henderson from The Ohio State University and Ramondre Stevenson can do in a running game. I just think they need more wide receiver. Cleveland Browns, that quarterback position, then Owusu Kirimo is out for another year. We know what Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward can bring, but that offense, it just leaves a lot. Quinshawn Judkins coming back off an injury at some point. But that quarterback position, they're right there with the Cardinals' number 1 pick potential, in my personal opinion. I really believe that. Texans, playoff team. I think C.J. Stroud is probably going to have a bounce-back year. I think that defense is still going to be one of the top-level defenses that we've had in this league. That offensive line, they did do some things to improve it. I think this is a playoff team with that defense alone. And I think C.J. Stroud, with a better offensive line performance, can start to improve. Not improve, but start to get back to those rookie year ways to where we saw unlimited potential from them. So I think playoff team is for the Texans. Chiefs, I think missing the playoffs is a real option. Mahomes, we have to see how he is health-wise. Then on top of that, I still don't believe, I'm not the biggest believer in that defense to get pass rush. You lose McDuffie, you lose Jaylon Watson, you did draft Monster Delaney, move up in the draft to get him. Honestly, and then the whole Rashee Rice situation is going to take away from that wide receiver core, which I still think needs more work. If I'm going to be honest with you do add Kenneth Walker to help that run game, but I'm in a position of being honest. I think the Chiefs can once again miss the playoffs, especially if Mahomes isn't back right away. I think this is a team that could potentially miss the playoffs yet again. Cowboys, potential wild card team with the improvements that they made on the defense with drafting Caleb Downs, Rashawn Gary, getting him in a trade, then the full season of Quentin Williams up front. I think you can have some hope to where this team could be a potential wild card team. I don't think they might win the division, but Dak Prescott in that offense coming back playing healthy. Then you had the running game with Javonte Williams, who had a really good season with a really good offensive line. I think this is a potential wild card team if the improvements on defense are really made. Next is the Los Angeles Chargers. I put them as potential wild card teams as well. With Justin Herbert, finally he has his 2 tackles, possibly healthy and Slater and all. Have a running game with a Hampton. You have a defense, even though it's a little bit older. I still believe in this Chargers defense to be a successful defense. I put them in potential wild card. Jets, number 1 pick contention as well. Geno Smith, I don't think he solves the quarterback problem. And I just personally think of this football team, they may be waiting to next year to really solve their quarterback position. We could be interested in waiting on that. And then on top of that, this defense is still a lot of young. They got David Bailey. They got Kenyon Sadiq to help offensively. But I still think this football team is very young. And I still think in the league that they are in and the hand that they've been kind of dealt, they could be in the number 1 pick contention. Carolina, I think this is a potential division repeat. I think so. Ted McMillan and Bryce Young getting 2-year chemistry. That defense played a lot better down the stretch, and they were a couple of plays away from beating the Rams in the playoffs. I still believe in this Carolina Panthers football team with them running the football. I still think this Carolina Panthers football team could be a repeat division champion at this point. Next, Tennessee Titans. They are young, but very, very intriguing. I know they got the old logo here, but when we're talking about them, you have a team with Carnell Tate from the Ohio State, Cam Ward. They have a defense that has been improved a lot with Franklin Myers and those guys on the defensive side of the ball. This is a young football team, but it is intriguing. It is intriguing now that you bring in Robert Saleh as head coach. This is a very intriguing football team. Very young, but I think Cam York can take another step in year 2. And this is a young but intriguing football team. Colts, I think this is a team that may miss the playoffs. And I think that because when is Daniel Jones going to be back from that Achilles injury, and what are they going to do at the quarterback position without him? Jonathan Taylor, we know, is still great. That defense, I think, is going to take a step back a little bit. And they already took a step back last year when they started off hot and then they just fell off. I think this is a team that can still be competitive. They trade Michael Pittman Jr. They re-sign Alec Pierce. I still think this is a very solid football team, but I just think they'll be one of those teams that's stiff in the playoffs, but just missed them. And then the Jacksonville Jaguars, the team that I think is going to repeat the AFC South. I do. But along with the Texans are going to give them a push. But the Jaguars, with Trevor Lawrence finally taking a bigger step, I think this is a team that could possibly repeat, and it's the AFC South champions. But those are my thoughts, my way too early predictions. We're only in the month of May, so still some things to play out. It's still some preseason, or still some things we need to see a little bit before I give my full predictions of it. But here it is, way too early for me. You guys leave a like, comment, share, subscribe. I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.